All right. So thanks everybody for joining us today. We're going to talk about some new automation we have with Benelinx. Real quick, I want to do a quick introduction to Yusheng, who is our partner, a new partner that we're doing a formal announcement with here soon. He's from Cloud Maven. Um, Yusheng, you want to do a quick introduction and then we'll continue on with the presentation.
Hey everyone, this is Ushank. I am the founder at CloudMaven Inc. By profession, I'm a certified technical architect of Salesforce. Again, very excited to be here. We will be demoing our solution along with Benelinx, which helps you send encrypted email right from Salesforce, along with recording the responses back into Salesforce. Thank you, Rachel, for the opportunity. Again, looking forward to answer any questions that you might have in this journey. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Yusheng, for being here. Um, yeah, let's get started. So, a couple things want to kind of go through. If you had joined us for our kind of kickoff presentation for Benelinx for 2026, we talked about our roadmap and some of the items that we're going to be accomplishing and new features we're going to be rolling out in 2026. And one of them was this presentation today. So, we're going to talk through some details about what features are already included in the Benelinx Managed package. The feature today, the announcement for our partnership with Cloud Maven, and the secure email capabilities that are not part of the standard Salesforce features. So it's a significant enhancement to sending and receiving emails in a way that works in the benefits industry. So we're going to talk about how we can take what Cloud Maven has built out beautifully in the system and incorporate that into the agency world and how would that apply to us? Um, and then part of this whole long-term process of this automation with the RFP tracking coming soon, probably now in 2027, since we're halfway through 2026, we are adding a AI document creation tool. So it's going to be outside of Salesforce. It's going to be the ability to drag and drop documents, and it creates records. So that'll take care of a lot of that and eliminate a lot of the manual entry in three significant areas of the Benelinx system. So for those folks that are new to Benelinx, that are here listening and learning, Benelinx is a managed package that's built on Salesforce. So we're using the Salesforce platform, the database structure, the security, some of the features, and have our agency management system built into that. One of the things that we're proud of that we strive for is to constantly work on bringing in the really important strategic partners that can help us automate different areas of an agency management system. And Cloud Maven is one of those new partners for us. We have several other partnerships. Also, we have a quoting engine with Ideon. We have integrations with Ease and Employee Navigator. And so lots of different partnerships that we have built over the years to help with the full life cycle of managing your agency management system. So the master plan. So this is the Benelinx master plan when we came up with really the alternative to ACA quoting. So if you've been with the Benelinx or tracked or followed us over the years, one of our key highlighted features that we came out with when we rolled out Benelinx was the ability to do instant quoting embedded into the Benelinx system. That partnership, it continues. We still have that partnership with IDEON, like I mentioned. But the markets have shifted, right? Our clients have grown in size. But the markets, more importantly, have shifted, right? So ACA quoting is less of a common solution. And the shift has moved more towards level funding at all sizes, depending on your markets, which limits what we can get from our IDEON partner. And so the value has changed, right? The value proposition of that instant quoting. Again, we still have it. We're going to actually highlight the capabilities of that piece of our system at the next session, which I'll mention at the end. But as a result of the shifting of the market, trying to solve for the problems of how do we automate, in essence, the quoting and proposal functionality that all agencies go through. Every year, you're renewing your policies. You have to go to market in most of those situations. The market's shifted, right? Where do I go to get those quotes? A lot of those quotes are now underwritten. And so and small groups, if we want to have a comparison, yes, we can use the instant quote feature. But because the market's shifted, how do we solve for that piece of our system that we didn't have solved for? So coming through and deciding how long, short term and long term, we were going to be able to provide that type of solution for our clients is where we came up with the RFP tracking. So this is the phase one that's already built into our system. Okay. So when we think about instant quoting, I can load a census, I can get a quote immediately, and what I get from Ideon would be plan designs and the quotes instantly from the market. The limit, the benefit is it's national coverage. So if I'm quoting in California or New York, I can get those instant quotes. The limitation of the instant quoting is that it's ACA. It's filed rates and plans with the state that you're in. And again, the market shifted away from that in a lot of situations. So, an enhancement, because we're not doing away with that, then the alternative is how do we accommodate the level funding market, but also underwritten other products like dental and vision and life and disability. And it really came down to tracking our RFP process, which is the solution of put together your RFP, grab all the information that you need, right? And you're submitting it to your preferred carriers or vendors or partners. Okay. It's not limited to because it's an open now option. And we're going to track the process of when did I send out the RFP request? Who did I send it to? When did I ask for those quotes to get returned? And then tracking when did I receive them back? So step one has already been accomplished, where we have that tracking capabilities built into the Benelinx system already. What that one step is the first step of us tracking, recording the process of managing that RFP. Okay. So now I can see, I'm going to give more visibility to my members, my other users in my agency when I can go into my renewal workflow and I can see that I've requested, right? I've got the RFP, I've requested it. Who did I request it from? The quotes from? When did I ask for those back? Did I receive them? Did it DTQ? And actually the files. So tracking was step one. Now we have the recording of that information and it has become more visible than me having it in my Outlook that's not visible to anybody else. If I'm sending out the RFP in the past, it's in my Outlook, nobody can see it. Nobody knows when I sent it out, nobody knows when I got them back. And as we know, and I'll show you this when we go through our system, is that you can't move on to the next step, which intuitively, after we get our quotes back, we create our proposal, which is then required for us to then meet with our client to present our market alternatives, right? Current renewal and alternative spreadsheeting. So all of that is dependent on getting those quotes back. And if we send it to three different carriers, or if we send it to five, if it's a tough industry, we may send it to 10 because we're trying to find alternatives for a hard market. Okay, so that's a lot of management. And if we multiply every client, how many carriers do we send it out to? Busy time of year, we've got a multiple of what we're trying to track. So we've solved that. And that was intentional that we started with phase one. Overall, we've had this plan from the beginning. Phase one was not the end of solving our problem with our challenge with the market shifting. So we have instant quoting already. Now we've got RFP tracking. Great. I can see and I have transparency into what did we send out? What did we ask for? And when did we get it back? Then we move on to phase two. Phase two is what we're talking about today. Phase two is, okay, that's great. We can track it in the system, but my emails are still coming into my inbox. Okay. The emails and the responses from the carriers are still over here on the side. My tracking records that I've built in Benelinx are over here, and there's still a disconnect. Well, our first challenge with trying to connect those two areas of the system, right, is that standard Salesforce email is very limited. Okay. The capabilities of sending emails out of Salesforce are intended for marketing invites. That's what they were built for. Okay, so nothing against that. It was just built for, hey, here's an invite, come to our webinar. Okay, they're not secure. They're not anticipating you're going to send, PHI, with emails, with census information. Okay, and they're very, very limited in the intention of what we need to send and receive these secure emails. Okay, so that was our first challenge. It's not available. It's just simply not available. You have to buy it. You have to add to the standard email capabilities. That's where Cloud Maven came into play. They came to us, we came to them. I can't remember how we started the relationship. Said, hey, we have this. We have the ability uniquely to not only have a secure email capabilities, but also to have it embedded inside of Salesforce. And that's really important for a couple of reasons. One is that it's a different type of way of sending out emails from Salesforce, but it's secure, which is not available with the standard Salesforce feature. So we have to be able to send out emails from Salesforce, but they have to be secure because we live in a world in our industry where everything has to be HIPAA compliant. But added bonus, two added bonuses. One is that we can actually receive back the emails embedded in Salesforce. That's not even a capability right now in a standard Salesforce feature. So getting it out, problem number one is it wasn't secure. Getting it back in wasn't even possible. So now we're adding the capability of actually getting those emails back from those carriers and having those records living and breathing inside of your Salesforce Benelinx system. Now I've got both of those capabilities that were in my Outlook or Gmail now living in and breathing inside of my Benelinx Salesforce system. I send out that RFP that I've already set up and I've got those records created and ready. I can now use Cloud Maven's feature, which is powered by Powbox. I'm going to show you that. That's really important because it's a very reputable email system that is widely used in the healthcare industry. Has all the certifications you could ever imagine. Okay, sends it out secure and receives it back. So now when the carrier responds to those RFP requests with an actual quote, you will receive them back in the system and you will have that attachment as a file embedded in your Benelinx Salesforce. Okay. So second amazing feature, right, is that not only can we send it out with secure, we can actually receive it back and we can see that response from the carriers. And now we've got that file automatically saved. And now all of that processing over here is now inside of the same system. The efficiency is exponential. The visibility is now there and the organization of and timing of when did we receive it? What was the response? Has been moved out of a third system into the same system that we're trying to track and manage. Okay. And so I think this is really important. What I want to clearly define, okay? So Salesforce is the platform. Benelinx is a managed package that's built into it for agencies like you. Okay, we built inside of this beautiful large database system. Okay, we are the architect for structure and design of how you're putting your data from your clients inside of the Salesforce system. Just like that's a similar, if you understand that, then just similar to that is how Cloud Maven's relationship is with Benelinx. They're the architects. They're the architects of designing and managing the capabilities of an secure email system inside of Salesforce. So Benelinx and Cloud Maven are architects. We're designing it and managing the functionality. And just like Salesforce backs us up, for Cloud Maven secure email, they use Powbox. It's another system that standardly sends emails securely back and forth, and they've taken that tool and then they brilliantly embedded it inside of the Salesforce system, which we then can use in our industry. Yushank, is there anything else you want to add about that? Hopefully that was
No, I
clear to
think
help understand and explain the relationship and what all the moving parts are. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think as she mentioned, right, Powbox has is a gold standard for sending HIPAA compliant emails. We have each and every feature. The best thing about our app is when you are using Salesforce as your CRM and Benelinx as your policy management platform, you need the capability to send encrypted emails and the ability to also thread or route those emails correctly. So we have built each and every feature around it where you can, have the full threading, you can do bulk emails, you can schedule emails for the future, automated, right? Another part is there is no other software which enables you to send encrypted email automatically through some events or anything happening in your CRM system, we also enable you perform such complex actions too. And at
Yeah.
any given point, Benelinx nor CloudMaven store any of your data. Everything, originate from Salesforce. Using our code, it automatically sends the email directly to the borrower and encrypt it in a transit as well as at rest using Powerbox.
So a couple things I think are really important about that. I'm going to show you their website. Please go look at their website for verification and validation. So this is Paulbox. You can see, go to their website, take a look. This is the email system that Cloud Maven has brought into Salesforce for you, for us to use. So very reputable, very widely used, highly secure email system. We can schedule a separate demo to walk through that feature in more details, but I think the moral of the story is one, this is who we're using through Cloud Maven as the architect to bring it into the Salesforce system. The other thing that you think I always ask you this during our demos is that secure email means a lot of things. We as an industry have had to bring in secure email right when, HIPAA and some of these regulations passed. And so the life cycle of us understanding secure email is great, right? And we understand when it started and some of the challenges. And I think one of the first questions people are going to ask, because they always do then the carriers have to log into a site to get to those emails? And so explain to me how kind of Powbox has handled that challenge of making sure it's secure, but not necessarily requiring the end user, right, the receiver of the email to have to actually log into a site to receive that information. Because I know that's a big challenge with secure email.
Yeah, and so Powerbox has basically a secure patented technology that even Microsoft could not, get it. They at the runtime itself, they validate, whether we can send the email directly to the client or should we have to do a portal. We do, okay, of course, both the things. So using their patented technology, they look at all the whitelist servers and everything and encrypt the email if needed to be in and deliver it through a portal or directly to the end customer inbox. And think of it, if an old 80-year you know person doesn't need to log into 5 different websites, look at different OTP and all, how easy it is to for them to reply back, and for you to get responses back into your CRM or Benelux system. And all these things can be done through us and Benelux, work that we have done over the last 1 year to incorporate this functionality into the packages.
So if I hear you correctly, in most situations, the way that they've white labeled, it's not going to require people to log in. It's more
That is correct.
exception based where they would have to. So that concern, it's not, we cannot 100% guarantee that it wouldn't happen, but the likelihood is much lower than any other system that they would have to log in. They're going to
That is
make sure,
correct.
A, no matter what, it's sent securely. If they can get it sent securely without having to do that, and that's probably 80% of the time, would you say, or higher, then they're going to receive that direct email in a secure way without having to log into a portal.
Exactly. Another thing that Benelinx and CloudMaven can provide is a deliverability matrix. So we will be able to tell you how many emails were directly, delivered to inbox, how many were delivered through portal. In any of the secure encrypted solution which you are not using with us, the email will bounce back, but we don't do that. We downgrade the email and send it through a portal. But the best thing about our package is we can tell you whether the email was delivered or not. We can also tell you whether the email was opened by the person or not. If it was open, at what IP they opened it, at what time they opened it. So it's not only ability to just send encrypted email, ability to track, have the full compliance, have the full auditability, and at last automate them and get the responses back into Salesforce when needed.
Yeah, exactly. This is why this is so powerful. And I think you mentioned at the end of kind of the initial conversation on this slide is that just like our partners that we have, our brilliantly bundled partnerships, Cloud Maven is one of those. And just like the Conga or the IDEON partnerships we have, this partnership and going forward with the Cloud Maven solution actually doesn't just gives you more, let me say it this way, much more than just what I'm presenting today. You're actually getting full featured solution and you get email automation for anywhere that you want to use it within the Salesforce system. So you could use the Cloud Maven solution. This is one use case that we're presenting today. You could use that same automation to send out your marketing. You could use that for additional, mass emails and tracking and, all the different email capabilities throughout your work cycle. And it's not limited to just like Conga. When I sell Conga, to our clients, we talk about, well, this is the use cases we're using Conga. We're using it for booklets and we're using it for proposals, but you could use it anywhere in your system and anywhere in your agency when you need document generation. This is the same kind of application. We're giving you a use case for adding on the solution, and there's many, many use cases where you want to send automated emails, track the emails sent out, track the emails received, track who opens them. You can automate that process and you can do it in volume. And you have a lot more flexibility to do that in a variety of places within your Benelinx Salesforce system. So I want to touch on that because that's really important that our partnerships and our capabilities of what and who we partner with are critically important because we're looking at it from a universal perspective on using their solution in a variety of ways. And we're giving you kind of the starting place in the RFP tracking. The thing I want to mention, I'll show you in the system before we move on to the next slide, is just I'll show you the visibility of the send and receive. If you understand, you're my system admins out there that understand when I send an email out of Salesforce, it lives under the record that I've sent it from. That's it. Cloud Maven gives us an app, which I love. It's just like our commission app or agency management. They give us a whole app. I can manage all my emails, the sent, the received, my list views. Everybody knows I'm a list view lady, right? I can see them all in one place. Standard Salesforce email, I have to go find the record that that email was sent from, and I can only see that email related to the record that I'm in. This gives me that global perspective. I can see them all and I can organize them and see them all on a dashboard. So really important, very significant differences on how we're managing the emails within. And that's really important. Management of data is as important as the capabilities. Along that note, I also want to mention is that we have the ability with that automation, because again, this is not just about sending and receiving, it's about automating the whole automation of the ability for us to create those email templates so I can send it out. So insert name, right? Hello, Rachel. Here's my RFP. I want you to, this is the due date. Here's all the documents. And we can even add in, maybe with Cloud Maven, maybe with our other partner, Conga, where we can actually pull data in from a variety of places into our system to create a document. If you have a standard RFP template that you send to every carrier for your life and disability requests, right? Maybe you do, where it has the client's name, their tax ID number, their address, the SIC code, etc., their requested plans. We can actually have the system pull that information in a document generator and then take that file and send it out with these emails. So see how all the automation, we're creating standardization, consistency, tracking, visibility. Okay. And it goes even further than just the send and receive of the email, not just. Okay. And also, as Yusheng had mentioned, also really important when you think about everything that's living over here in your employees, Outlook. You don't have any visibility. You have to keep asking. Your sales team keeps asking. Your other support teammates keep asking. You sent it out what day? What have you got back? What's the delay? What are the questions coming in from the carriers, right? We've now moved that inside of the Benelinx Salesforce system. And now we can also track, did they open it? What was the response time? How powerful is that information? I can't even express how important that is, right? I sent out this RFP request to these carriers on this day, today. When did I get them back? What was the delay? Why was there a delay? I never got a response back from XYZ carrier. Carrier XYZ comes and knocks on my door, takes me to lunch, and asks why we haven't sold any of XYZ carrier's products. I now have data to explain to them why XYZ carrier hasn't been sold by our agency. It could be never got a quote back. It could be you're the last ones to respond. I have the data now to show that rep that I sent it out today. I got 99% of the quotes back in a 5-day period, let's say, and they gave it back to me in a 15-day period. They didn't make it to the spreadsheet for that reason. Powerful, right? And now that carrier rep gets to go back to their manager and say, this is why the agency that I met with hasn't put us on the spreadsheet or hasn't sold anything. Let's make an improvement to our process so we can, speed up the process. And now we're going to be in line to be more competitive and we're going to be able to, they're going to be able to show our product. So again, without this information, it's anecdotal. It's not that we don't have that conversation with our carrier reps. I know we do. We all did. I did do. But now we have actual numbers. And what I find fascinating, and I talk a lot about the importance of Benelinx and Salesforce. It's not just about putting the data in and getting it in a place where people can see it. It's a lot. I was going to say 90% but that's not true. It's 60, 70%. What can we get out of the system that is not just out of the system, but is meaningful? We're moving as an agency management system more and more into looking at the analytics and the reports and dashboards that we provide to our clients. And one of the most important things is if we're going to build a dashboard, if we're going to build a report, it needs to be meaningful, meaning what is it doing? What is the data telling us that somebody that's reading this can execute on, that can help them make decisions, that can help them help their carrier reps change their process, right? So the value is tremendous. And the output is what we're looking for and we're seeking as owners, as managers, and even as account executives or account managers managing a block of business or sales folks, right? What do we get out of the system and being able to not just put the data in, but what can we get out of it? And I'm telling you myself as an agency owner and or just a business owner now, I anecdotally know things and then I see it and I'm just still like surprised by the results just because I'm looking at actual numbers and it's usually a little bit more or a little bit less than I expected, right? So anecdotally, we know, but now we have numbers to match up with it, and we actually discover some new things um, along the way. So really important for us to understand that this is much bigger than sending and receiving an RFP. It's tracking, it's analytics, the results of, and the Cloud Maven architects that give us this beautiful new tool that we can apply in a variety of places in our system. So that's where we're at. Next phase. Okay, this is a big step for Benelinx. This is the first time we've talked about AI. Got a lot of things cooking for AI. This is probably for one of the first big ones. You'll see some updates on service side from Benelinx regarding AI very soon, but this is going to be one of our first features, and it's a big one. Okay, so again, looking at our entire system, where is the manual entry really heavy? Okay, it's 3 places in Benelinx that are really, really heavy, heavy burden on your users. And my goal as the owner of Benelinx is to take that burden off of your users, automate that process. Okay, but we have to also balance automation and speed with accuracy. So what we're doing that's coming soon, end of 2026, early 2027, is the document generating engine. It's going to be outside of Salesforce. You're going to be able to drag and drop a variety of documents. AI is going to read them and it's going to create records. Records are then usable inside of Salesforce, right? And what type of documents are you going to be able to drag and drop and have it load and create? Commission statements. Okay, it's a big problem. We have PDFs, we have Excel, we have it in a variety of ways, right? We're going to normalize all of that. You can upload your statements once a day, once a month, and it's going to convert those into readable records. Readable records for our system, for our code, which is great, and readable records for you. Okay. But in addition to that, we have plan designs. Again, part of this RFP tracking, moving away from or enhancing the Benelinx system. So it's not just ACA quoting. Now it's RFP tracking. But along with that, we have plan designs that need to be in our plan library. And those plan designs don't come from a approved rate and plan library from the carriers. So being able to load up a plan design and have it create a plan record. That's going to be really important, right? This is the shifting of our market. Also, along with our plan designs, load those up, have it create those plan records for us. Consistency, normalized data, really important. But also our quotes. This is part of that RFP process. Now we can actually ask for the quotes back, right? Sending out that secure email, receiving it back. It's in a file inside of Salesforce. What can we do with files? Now we can convert those to records. We have a lot of functionality inside that instant quote that we built the beginning of Benelinx. We didn't just build a quote engine. We built proposals, proposed plans, proposed plan participants. We built a whole proposal system, which has nothing to do with where we're getting the quotes. That's once we get the quotes, then the system can generate a proposal, and a proposal in Benelinx world is your spreadsheet. It's the spreadsheet that you give to your clients. That's a second feature, and it's already built. And it's being used in conjunction with our get quote, which is our instant quote. We're going to tap into that already built, to be able to get those quotes and convert those to proposed plans for you. Wouldn't that be great? You get 5 quotes, boom, load it up, sends it back. It's going to say, here's your proposed plans. Would you like to use them? Yes or no? Great. Attach them into your proposal. Great. Generate proposal. Now I've got 1, 2, 3 steps, and there's no building. This is the master plan. When we started this process of building the RFP tracking system, this was the plan from the beginning. It wasn't a one and done. It was, this is the beginning, is the tracking. Be patient with us. We've got a plan. Second step is Cloud Maven, right? Bringing in that secure email had to happen. Cannot get those documents without the send and receive, and it has to be secure. Phase 3 is now, what are we going to do with those documents when they come back, those quotes? We need to be able to convert those to records. Okay. Super, super important. But I want you to understand this is a piece of the master plan of what we intend to create, which will bring us into another space of being able to manage, yes, our instant quoting, but in addition to this, the RFP process, which then can be used in a variety of ways. It's not limited, it's limitless. Our level funded, self-funded, TPAs, disability, worksite carriers, send it to whoever you would like. So this is important, and then we'll jump to showing you the system, okay, and how some of this works. This is really, really important, and this is absolutely the fundamental structure of Benelinx, okay? The automation and the processing of your entire life cycle. And we've added significant components in the last 12 to 24 months to really take this process and bring it into the full life cycle of how you guys are managing your business. Okay. So, a couple things. Prior training sessions, webinars that we've done, we've backed into the sales process. We've gone through these steps and explained to you how Benelinx as an agency management system, we realized, well, we got to really start at the beginning. And the beginning is the sales process, right? And we're natively built or inherently built inside of Salesforce. Why wouldn't we bring that into our entire process? So we've created standard sales app with some of what the standard Salesforce features, but built in and tweaked it for our industry. We built some really cool automations around conversion of a sold client and automations around that. And great. So we brought those two together. That life cycle really starts with that lead. I get a business card. What do I do with it, right? Sales team. Then I work that to a, warm lead, and I'm converting it, and I have a sale, and now that transition, boom, we've got click a button, market is sold, notifies AEAM, service team, and now we've got enforced clients. But it doesn't stop there. Now the service team picks it up, right? They're either going to go through the marketing process when you BR that group, or they're going to do it at the annual renewal. This is where we're talking about the RFP tracking. Now we've got the quoting and RFP tracking. I can send it out and receive it. I mentioned a little bit about proposals. Our next webinar in 2 weeks is going to talk about proposals, which will be whether you instant quote or go through the RFP process, you can still generate a proposal or a spreadsheet in our system. I think people think they have to quote to get the proposals. You do not. You can build a proposal, which is a standardized spreadsheet that you want all of your clients to have, no matter if Sally or John is building it. It's the client-facing spreadsheet you're giving your clients with the recommendations. We're going to talk about that in 2 weeks. Okay? Client, you get that ready. You build that into the Benelinx system, right? No matter how you do that, and again, we're adding automation to make that process a lot easier in the future. And then all the work you did, everything that you presented to the client, you can mark what is sold within our system. This is number 7 is one of the most important parts because when I mark what is sold, everything that was in that proposed plan gets a policy created, a brand new policy record for the next year. Check a box, creates a policy, renews it if that's the case. New business, renewals. I don't have to build a new policy now. I don't have to renew my policies. I mark what is sold. Boom. I've got my policy set for the next year. In addition, then what can I use all that new information for? I've got all my policies set for the next year. I've renewed them. Great. Now I can generate a booklet. Output. Again, we're using Conga, beautiful PowerPoint. I can generate a booklet for this. Some of our clients use it for all clients. Some of it use it for small group. Great. We're going to have another session on that to show you our updated PowerPoint. Template, customizable. Clients that never got it before are going to be elated. And then your people aren't going to have to spend 5 to 6 hours building each one. Even better then, we push that information to Employee Navigator, Ben Admin. That's who our preferred vendor is right now. It is the only vendor right now um, that is significant in the market. Obviously over time, if we get another significant player, then we'll also have an integration there. But updates on that. So we're doing phase 2 of Employee Navigator. It's a whole nother integration. It's going to be bi-directional. It's going to be massive. It's going to come with a lot of changes in Benelinx, big improvements on, again, reducing your manual entry. It's going to be bi-directional. Right now, we have an Employee Navigator integration. I can only push. The new one is going to be back and forth. Okay. So I can push or pull, and it's going to include all the different rating methods, including voluntary rates. It's going to have different plan design structures. It's going to be this beautiful new release for within Benelinx. We're going to match up the data model so that it's going to be easier and better. Okay, that's the life cycle. And all through that process, we are working to reduce, if not eliminate, the manual entry. I had a client the other day tell me, and she was talking about this part of the system, specifically the booklet creation. She said, what used to take 3 to 4 hours takes 30 to 40 minutes. And I said, can I share that quote? She goes, yes. But that to me, if you do that multiple across all the different steps and processes that you know are going into every single client every year, um, exponential value on your return on your investment, right? The investment of the technology, the investment of adding the RFP tracking system, Cloud Maven, when you think about the reduction in time to take that time and now allow your account managers and your account executives to pivot and to do more consultative work, or maybe not work until 10 o'clock at night during busy season. So they have burnout, right? There's lots of value in making their time more efficient. Plus, we're reducing redundancy and creating more efficiency. And technically, we're also reducing errors. When you've put the same information in 12 places, we're all human and it will happen, right? We're going to have problems. So lastly, and then we'll jump into the system and show you a little bit about how this works. And then if anybody's interested, we'll go through a more demo and go through live. But I want to show you a few things here before the end of the presentation. Overall, right? The road rules of the future are all about AI. I know a lot of you are starting to use cloud, you're starting to use ChatGPT, and that's great. It's a tool to help make your worlds easier. We are coming out with our own, yeah, I mentioned, but we're also coming out with our own agent here in the future. But overall, automation, whether you use AI or you use some combination of that with other resources and tools, it's about better, stronger, faster, smarter, right? It's what we're looking for, right? And help supplement our critically important people. People are not replaceable in our industry. I do not believe. but to make their process and their lives easier is the goal, to make it stronger, better, faster, and smarter, right? And so that's why we're doing what we're doing. And there's a lot more that we're going to add into our systems with that AI component over time. And this is kind of, again, bringing the pieces and parts together and then automation on top. I always talk about that with clients, and I am not kidding. You got to have the structure and then you automate after. You build it, you set it, and then you build in automation to go grab this and go grab that and put these two things together. But if you don't have that good structure and you don't have your good data integrity, then the pieces and parts putting together are going to be wrong. It's the moral of the story with AI, in my opinion. So, 2 weeks from now, meet us again, same place, same time. And this is where we're going to talk about creating proposals. This is part of that next phase of that life cycle. So please join us. Okay, let's go in real quick and take a look at a couple things I want to show and tell. So, for those that haven't looked at our system, been in our system, we are inside our agency management app. We have multiple apps. We have commissions app and we have the Cloud Maven app. I'm inside of our renewal workflow. Okay. This is where that RFP request starts. If I go down here, this is auto-generated. I mark that the client is deciding to market, wants us to market for them, and now we've got records being created. I go inside that market request, and this is where I'm going to ask for those requests from each of those carriers. The benefit here is I'm going to send this all at once, right? I'm going to send out the RFP request, sending it on the same day. I'm requesting for all these carriers to get it back to us at the same time. Now I can track. Okay, great. I got the request from Anthem. I've got it from, different carriers. When did I request it? Did I receive it back? What's the status? And then embedded in there, I can even see more details and I can see even if there's files and notes, if that email has come through in that RFP file. So this is the tracking capabilities. This is already part of the Benelinx managed package. I can go in, part of my renewal, I can indicate if I want to track that RFP, and I can mass build these requests, and I can track when did I receive them back. Was there a delay? Did they DTQ? Why did they DTQ? Enhancement to that now, as you can see here, I can take all of these requests and I can either update the mass response. Maybe I got them all back on the same day and I want to update that. More importantly, for this presentation, I can also send secure emails. Okay, so this is where I can grab all or a few and I can say I want to send it to these three maybe, and I'm going to send a secure email out. This is where the Cloud Maven tool comes into play. I can decide who it's from. I can decide all my sales contacts. Yep, from the list. You can see I've got a couple here. These are who it's going to, and I can decide my reply. I talked about that email template automation. Now here's, you can see, I can go in and I can say insert recipient name. Hi, Sally, you work at Anthem. I'm requesting it for this account. Here's the effective date request. Here's the due date. Here's the plans I'm requesting. And by the way, here's included in a bunch of files I'm loading and reply to and thank you from. And I can send that out right from the system. I'm going to show you where that's tracked. I told you, the member that Cloud Maven gives us, just like we give you apps, really focusing in on certain records within the Salesforce system. We have the sales app we've talked about, the agency management app, commissions app, and now you get the secure email. This is where I was mentioning when I go in here, now I've got a whole app that I can focus on seeing, tracking, and managing all my emails. Remember, I said earlier, a limitation of the Salesforce email is if I send an email out of Salesforce, I have to go into the record it was sent from, the contact record, and I have to find that contact and then I can see the emails. There's no way for me to aggregate all those records into one place. And now through this app, I can see nice, beautiful dashboards. I get visibility, and then I can go in and I can start to see my list views. I love list views, right? You guys all know that. So now I can see not only the emails that were sent, I can see the emails that were inbound, right? These are the ones that sent out. I can track and manage. Was it delivered? Was it opened? I can see what was inbound, what came back. Was it received? So all kinds of information. By default, I can start to track. And again, it's all in one place. So if you imagine, I can go in and I could say, oh, I just want to see or the emails that I sent. I could see the emails for a particular, client. I could see emails. Then if I have additional automation emails that I want to send out in a variety of places, I can slice and dice it any way I would like. And again, I can see them all in one place from a variety of places within the system. That's really, really important because otherwise we're hunting and pecking through the system and not being able to find what we're looking for. And when we look at the records that we can track, there's a tremendous amount of information that we're gathering and tracking. I can see then also, if I go back to my market request, I can also see, was it received? When was it sent? So I've got dates, sorry, dates when it was delivered. I can indicate if it was opened. I can see when they came back. I'm going to get a notification up here in my tasks when it's returned. If we have our heavy task users, wish it was bigger and louder. I always complain about tasks and notifications in Salesforce because it's not as visible as I'd like. But you can see when it was received, and again, when was it returned? So again, we've got not only secure, now we've got it tracking and managing the emails in and the emails out, sorry, and the emails when they come back in. And I can even see my files. So when we think about the capabilities here, now we're removing the need to send it outside in a personal email, personal work email, right? Where there's no visibility. And now anybody could jump into that market request. We're in the renewal process. I need to know what the status is. And even further, I can even visibly see what was sent and received. Who did I send it to? And when did I get it back? And again, where does all this come from? People always ask, where does all this come from? I'm like, it all comes from records in your system. If you go back to this RFP request and I have a sales rep attached to my Anthem account, see how I'm tracking my request from Anthem and my sales rep is Rachel. Where did that come from? If I go to my carrier, oops, and I go to my account, it's just a record. I have a contact. I can go through any of the reps. I can have 5 reps and I'm going to designate, great. For this particular request, I'm sending it to Sally today and John tomorrow because maybe it's ancillary rep in Anthem versus medical rep or medical rep versus level funded rep, 2 different people, right? So I get to select that and now I can see it. So I'm going to have that visibility, like I said, all the way back to my workflow. This is my renewal. We also have an onboarding workflow, same process, where then we can track. Go down here. Here's my RFP requests. What have I asked for? When did I get it back? And when I go back in, then I can decide who am I sending it out to, the requests. If I have sales reps in my system, then I can indicate who I'm actually sending it to. That can be really powerful, right? If I'm sending it to the right person or wrong person. If it's Sally every time, then I know that I'm sending it to the right person. And then once I get those back, I can see them received and if they were open and timing of when it was received back. Okay. And then again, universally, you can see the secure email can be applied in a variety of places. I'm still inside my Cloud Maven app, and this can all be customized. So I could live in here if I wanted to, just like I can live in any app. We just have to enable the lightning pages, which you saw that one wasn't. But then I can see my email templates. This is standard Salesforce. But just like we do, we're going to use as many of the Salesforce capabilities that are already native in the system. So Cloud Maven isn't bringing us email template capabilities. We're just going to use the standard Salesforce email template capabilities. Okay. And then on top of that, we're going to use those templates to then add those into our emails that are going to be sent and received from with Pawbox. And you can see all the different variety of building those out. And we've got our template builder to be able to build those. In addition, we also have the capabilities, like I said, for scheduling. So you could build this out and say, I want to schedule them at a certain time. Cloud Maven has way more than I'm even explaining, I'm sure, when it comes to email automation about some of those capabilities, but scheduling and tracking, right? and open rates are going to give us a lot of information about those emails as they come and go in our system. Shank, is there anything you want me to add as we kind of wrap up the presentation today?
No, I think you
Oh,
have really nailed it. One thing is which we could not show you is the automated emails, right? When you are creating a policy is about to expire, there is some notification, reminder, nudges, changes need to be done. The system can do things automatically. Some of the people have actually gone very wild with the solution and have also used it for marketing purposes. What they do is they look at, oh, the email was opened by someone. Now let me send a second chaser or a different email altogether. That would require some work and some art on your side, but it is definitely possible, right? Where we can take this to anywhere now. All your emails will be intact to the right record. You can run any analytics, any reporting, how much time people are taking to reply back, how much time we are taking to reply back to the people. So the art of possibilities are huge here, and we are here to work with you, understand your use case, and take it forward. And you can use it within Benelinx, and you can also use it outside the Benelinx app as well. Let's say you want to use it on an opportunity for whatever reason, you can do those scenarios as well.
yeah, any place in the Salesforce system. So whether, yeah, you're using our agency management or you're using it in the sales side, you've got custom objects that have been built out. Anywhere within the Salesforce ecosystem, you can apply the email automation concept. I'm just going to show you this one more time as far as this loading feature here. And again, a lot of this can be automated. But, when you're going through and setting up how am I sending and receiving that information and then pulling in those templates as well as uploading those files. And it's telling us how many folks are going to get that. And then we have the visibility of being able to see. And again, I believe they're all like blind CC, right, Yusheng? Yeah, I'm sure they're. Okay. So this interface and the capabilities of saying, how do we want to design it? And obviously, it's not microscopic, which is always helpful as I get older. And as you see, I have glasses. The tiny little send your email from this is now this nice big screen. And then again, as much as you want to customize, it's very rare that it's not possible in the Salesforce world. Time and money are the only limitations. So if you wanted to take this idea and really, customize it according to what your needs are, all the capabilities are there with the help of, like I said, the Benelinx and the Cloud Maven team for that architectural design to make it work specifically in your space. And some of you that are coming to us today are coming from an ISV environment. So I'm glad you mentioned that, Yushank, because I think it's really important to understand like that some of you are OEM clients, which you're buying Salesforce and Benelinx from us, but there are some of you that have a whole nother, world in Salesforce, and we're a piece of it in the ISV environment where you've got Salesforce purchase direct and you've got a lot of moving parts. You may have financial service cloud, you may have a lot of other things going on, and this could apply anywhere within your Salesforce ecosystem. So we're introducing you to a solution that isn't limited to Benelinx. It's anything that would be available within Salesforce. Okay. Well, thank you guys. I'm not running over this time, which is great. Let's see real quick if we have any questions before we leave. Is this being recorded? Yes, it is. We will send this out. So typical kind of final kind of homework or housekeeping. This presentation is recorded. We will load it into Benelinx 360 for the Benelinx clients. We will also distribute it out to the participants once we've kind of cleaned it up a little bit, added some highlights, and we'll get that out in the next 24, 48 hours. Any direct questions to you, Shank, we'll include some of your information so that if you wanted to get a hold of them direct, we're happy to do that. And then scheduling follow-up demos, you want a deeper dive, you want to look at specifically how the functionality would work in your environment, then all you have to do is reach out. You can send an email to support@Benelinx, or you can send it directly to me, Rachel@Benelinx.com. Happy to schedule some time to really go through and give you a little bit more information. But today, the goal was to give you an introduction to some of the new capabilities that we're offering. Okay, I don't see any other. Let's see. Would you get, there's one more question here. Would you get a notification if a contact is no longer with the carrier? To this, what is you Shank, what is how do you handle emails, rejected emails when they get sent
Yeah,
out?
so we will basically have a list of the emails that were not delivered. And again, that's a beauty, right? Within the CRM system, we'll be able to give you a list view saying these are the bounced email. Because in the email itself, Rachel, if you can open any outbound email, please.
Hmm.
So in this, if you see, we have a status here. You will be seeing an email status as bounced, and we will also give you a reason. So you will be able to kind of determine in the field what actually happened and how to tackle. There will be some step. This can be fully automated too. Like if you want us to mark a bounced email as, inactive contact and all, we can do certain things on that front too. But
That's
the
cool.
system
Yeah,
will give you a great message saying this was failed and this was a reason for the failure.
I love that automation idea because we have an active checkbox on our contacts. So if you wanted it to automatically in it deactivate so they don't show up next time in your RFP tracking, we could do that too, but it does give you that update here that it was undeliverable. Very good question. So another question is, did you mention if this will integrate with Outlook? Do you want to answer that, or would you like me to?
So when you say want to automate with Outlook, it can automate.
Integrate
Yeah, it
was
can.
the word.
It can. Yeah, it can integrate with Outlook for sure. But I think as a business, we would like to determine if we want people to live in Outlook and CRM system because if let's say I start replying from Outlook for the email that we have received here, you will lose the tracking, right? So we worked with Goldman Sachs where we kind of spent almost 11 months to say people, hey, you should not use Outlook because this is my CRM or the system. But the answer is yes, it is possible.
And I think I want to, so while it's possible, I want to clarify. So Einstein is the Outlook integration that's native to Salesforce, right? So you're living in Outlook and you're pushing a copy of the record into Salesforce as kind of the history. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about today. That is a totally separate feature, which would not change. This is how do I explain it? It's it's a much robust way of sending and receiving emails because you're doing that same process that you would do in your Outlook. You're gonna perform that same process live inside of Salesforce. Okay. So if you want to just put a copy of the record inside, which you have to push it from, right, inside your Outlook integration, you have to say, yes, this is the email I want to go in and where. This is actually sending and receiving within the Salesforce system. You can keep both. If you still have emails you want to push in, this can be an addition where then if you have some emails that you actually want to send and receive from the system, but they're not connected by default. Yushank says you could if you want, but the reality is I just want to make that really clear because we talk a lot, Yushank, about the Einstein, and we have all of our clients using Einstein activity capture, and that's really important because again, we want visibility into those emails. And that's a standard feature with Salesforce that's embedded in the pricing. This is an addition. This is sending and receiving secure emails right from within. You're not pushing anything from Outlook.
Yeah, and for the visibility, we do have a component of Cloud Maven that we have not demoed, which can bring data, how many messages you have done, how many secure encrypted email, how many Einstein emails were sent and all. We have the ability to bring all the data together, how many Conga templates were sent, how many DocuSign templates were sent. So whether you are using Benelinx object, our object or any third party, we do have an ability to bring all the data and actions together. And the same component can be also used for performing many, many different actions altogether. So this we will talk more, I think. But yeah, there is a lot that we have done over the last 10 years, which can help you be more efficient, be more productive, and also get the right analytics from the system, right? Because any system without right reporting, without right, automation isn't a right system. So we can bridge those gaps very easily. And, we look forward to speaking, discuss your individual use case and take it forward.
See, that's where that, and the last thing is because we have to run, but that's the last final note I think is really important. They're the architects just like Benelinx. So that's where the advisory, this is what I wanted to do. We've got some out of the box already pre-built for you. We spent a lot of time providing you with the solution that you're seeing today. But that customization and that consultative, you know, um, advice that you can get, just like Benelinx, we're introducing you to a partner that can give you that equal consultative architectural designing, just like Benelinx. And that's really powerful to have that resource to go to the Cloud Maven team and say, this is great. This is what I need. This is how do we build it so that it works for my company? How do we modify it, right? So really powerful partnership that we're bringing to you, reputable. We've worked with them for a while now, and so I think it's really important to understand the benefit of advisory role as well that Cloud Maven provides. So thank you guys. Any other questions, we'll follow up in an email. Any further requests for more information, happy to schedule some additional meetings. And thank you so much for your time today. Recording will be available here soon. And thank you, Shane, for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, team.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.